They exiled me as a monster. Now the strongest men in the galaxy refuse to let me go. Cold. Not the quiet kind. Not the peaceful kind. The kind that bites. The kind that sinks into bone and refuses to let go. I inhale. And choke. Salt. Blood. Rust. My eyes snap open. The ceiling above me is jagged stone, uneven, dripping with condensation. My head throbs like something cracked inside it. Memory rushes in, but none of it is mine. Su Linwan. The name lands like a verdict. A psycho guide. Cruel. Sadistic. Unstable. The kind of guide Sentinels whispered about. The kind they feared. No, that's not me. But my voice, low, hoarse, belongs to him now. Something shifts in my awareness. A body that feels wrong. Lighter. Leaner. Controlled strength instead of softness. I don't have time to process it. Because. A sound. Chains dragging. A low, guttural breath. My head turns. And I freeze. Across the cavern, bound in reinforced alloy restraints, is a man. No, not just a man. A sentinel. Tall. Bare torso streaked with dried blood. Muscles coiled tight even in restraint. His silver hair clings damply to his neck. And his eyes. Deep blue. Not calm. Not human. They glow faintly, like something submerged beneath the ocean's surface. Watching. Waiting. Hunting. Lucian. The name slips from my lips before I can stop it. The memory hits. This is the moment. The original Su Linwan had dragged a captured high-ranking sentinel here. Lucian, a rare merman-type sentinel, and was about to break him. Mentally. Systematically. Cruelly. Heartbeat quickens. And I woke up right before it happens. Lucian tilts his head slightly. Chains clink. His gaze sharpens. You stopped. His voice is low, rough, like gravel dragged underwater. You were smiling a moment ago. A chill crawls up my spine. The memory flickers. Images I don't want to own. Hands reaching into his mental world. Tearing. Twisting. Enjoying it. I swallow hard. My throat tightens. Wrong answer and I die. Right answer might still kill me later. Lucian shifts. The chains strain. A faint cracking sound echoes. Slow realization. He's not fully restrained. He's enduring. Waiting for the right moment. Waiting to snap. And when he does, Su Linwan was supposed to die here. Torn apart. Mind shattered. Body discarded. Sharp inhale. Not happening. Not to me. I take a step back instead of forward. Lucian notices immediately. His eyes narrow. You're retreating. Yes. Honesty slips out before I can dress it up. I don't want to hurt you. Silence. Heavy. Dangerous. Then, a quiet, humorless laugh. You already did. The words land like knives. And they're true. Not me. But this body. This past. This reputation. It's all real. And it's all pointing at me. Then let me fix it. Lucian's gaze sharpens again. Suspicion. Hostility. Something darker. Fix? Yes. My hands lift slowly, carefully. Non-threatening. Measured. I'm a guide. I can stabilize you. A flicker. Just for a second. His breathing stutters. The right value. I can feel it now. Chaotic. Violent. On the edge of collapse. His mind is tearing itself apart. And no one came to save him. Quiet. Because they all feared the one person who could. Me. I won't resist. The words leave me before I can second-guess them. Lucian goes still. Say that again. I won't resist, I repeat, steadier this time. If you want to kill me after, you can. But if you keep going like this, I gesture slightly. His body. His instability. His unraveling mind. You'll die first. Silence stretches. Then snaps. In one violent motion. Crack. The restraint shatters. Chains explode outward. I don't move. Don't run. Don't even breathe. Lucian is in front of me in less than a second. A hand slams against the wall beside my head. Stone cracks. His other hand grips my throat. Not tight. Not yet. Testing. Close, dangerous whisper. You're either lying. His thumb presses lightly against my pulse. Or you've lost your mind. Heartbeat loud. Maybe both, I say quietly. His eyes search mine. Looking for deception. For fear. For weakness. I don't hide any of it. Because I am afraid. But I'm not running. Soft, steady. Let me try. A long pause. Too long. Then, Lucian leans closer. Close enough that I can feel his breath. Cold. Salt-tinged. Unstable. One mistake, he murmurs, and I will tear your mind apart first. Fair. Close your eyes. He doesn't. Of course he doesn't. So I step closer instead. Slowly. Deliberately. Until my forehead touches his. Soft whisper. Then watch me. And I reach in. The world fractures. Darkness. Pressure. A storm of violent waves crashing endlessly. Lucian's mental world is chaos. Broken reefs. Shattered currents. A sea in constant collapse. And in the center, him. Alone. Drowning while standing still. Quiet determination. All right. I take a step forward. Let's fix this. Darkness doesn't scare me. Not anymore. What scares me is how violent this mind is. Slow step. Lucian's mental world crashes around me. Waves slamming into fractured reefs, currents tearing in opposite directions, pressure crushing down like the deep sea trying to swallow everything whole. Every instinct screams. Get out. Too late. I'm already inside. Steady breath. Lucian. My voice doesn't echo here. It sinks. Pulled under. No response. Of course not. He isn't listening, he's surviving. I move forward anyway. Each step feels like walking through water thick with broken thoughts. Memories flash against my skin. Rage, betrayal, isolation. The sharp sting of being treated like nothing more than a weapon. And underneath all of it, quiet. Loneliness. I stop. There. In the center of the storm. He stands still, head lowered, shoulders tense, like something braced for impact that never stops coming. Hey. No reaction. Softer. You're going to break at this rate. A wave crashes. I raise my hand. Not to block. To touch. The moment my fingers press into the water, the storm stutters. Just for a second. Lucian's head lifts. Slowly. His eyes lock onto mine. Sharp. Dangerous. But clearer. What are you doing? His voice sounds different here. Less restrained. More raw. I'm not fighting you, I say. Step closer. I'm stabilizing you. He watches me like I'm something unnatural. Which fair. The original Su Linwan never did this. Never helped. Only destroyed. You're lying. Then why isn't it getting worse? Silence. The storm flickers again. A little weaker. A little less chaotic. That's all the opening I need. I move closer. Slow. Careful. You don't have to trust me, I continue, voice steady. Just don't resist. His jaw tightens. You think I can't crush you here? I think you could, I admit. Quiet. But you won't. A dangerous pause. Why? Because if he does, he loses the only thing keeping him from collapse. But I don't say that. Instead, because you're tired. That hits. I see it. The micro flinch. The crack. Sentinels don't admit weakness. They don't survive if they do. But exhaustion? That's different. That's real. I step into his space. Close enough to feel the instability radiating off him like heat. Let me carry some of it. Before he can react, I reach out and press my hand to his chest. Everything stops. Not completely, but enough. The storm slows. The waves drop from violent crashes to heavy swells. The pressure lifts just enough to breathe. Lucian inhales sharply. His fingers twitch. His gaze snaps to mine. What did you? Sho. I don't let him pull away. Guiding energy isn't force. It's alignment. I don't suppress his chaos. I redirect it. Smooth the edges. Stitch the fractures just enough to hold. Not perfect. Never perfect. But stable. For now. Slow exhale. There. The ocean settles into something almost calm. Lucian doesn't move. Doesn't speak. Just stares. Like he doesn't recognize what's happening. Or me. This isn't possible, he says finally. It is now. His eyes narrow slightly. Not hostile. Not entirely. Something else. Something sharper. Interest. Who are you? The question lands heavier than expected. Because I don't have a clean answer. Not one he'd accept. Someone who doesn't want to die today, I reply lightly. A pause. Then, a quiet huff of breath. Not quite a laugh. But close. You're strange. I've been told worse. The connection starts to strain. I feel it immediately. My own mental pathways. Blocked. Damaged. Suppressed. The original Su Linwan didn't train control. He abused power. And now I'm paying for it. Lucian notices. Of course he does. His gaze sharpens. You're unstable too. Working on it. My hand slips slightly. The storm trembles again. Not as violent as before, but enough. Lucian reacts instantly. His hand grabs my wrist. Not to stop me. To steady me. Close, low voice. Don't lose focus. I blink. That wasn't expected. I thought you wanted to kill me. I still might. But not before I understand this. Fair. Very fair. I refocus. Anchor the connection. Slow the current. Guide, don't force. Piece by piece. The storm holds. Not gone, but controlled. Lucian exhales slowly. For the first time since I entered. His shoulders drop. Just a little. Enough. His voice is quieter now. Grounded. I pull back carefully. The mental world dissolves. Darkness. Then. Sharp inhale. Reality slams back in. The cavern. Cold air. Stone walls. Lucian is still right in front of me. Still holding my wrist. But his grip. Looser. Controlled. Alive. You actually did it. I nod, breathing heavier than I'd like. Temporary fix, I admit. You'll need regular stabilization. His eyes lock onto mine. And this time, there's no mistaking it. Something has changed. Not trust. Not yet. But claim. Interest sharpened into something far more dangerous. You're coming with me. There it is. I almost laugh. Almost. Hard no. His grip tightens slightly. Not optional. And walking back into a base that wants me dead is... That stops him. For half a second. Then, you're more valuable alive. Tell that to your command. Silence. Tension coils again. Different now. Not predator and prey. Something more balanced. More unstable. More dangerous. Because now, he needs me. And he knows it. Slow, deliberate. I'm not going back, I say firmly. Not as a captive. His gaze darkens slightly. Then what? I meet his eyes. Hold them. Then we negotiate. For the first time, Lucian smiles. Not warm. Not kind. But sharp. Interested. Predatory. Good. His voice drops. Because you're not the only one who knows how to make deals. A distant sound cuts through the cavern. Footsteps. Multiple. Fast. Lucian's expression shifts instantly. Cold. Alert. We're not alone. I turn toward the entrance. A new presence presses against my senses. Bright. Loyal. Chaotic, but not broken. And right behind it, something heavier. More violent. Warlike. Quiet realization. More sentinels. And if they find me here, after everything Su Linwan did, they won't hesitate. Heartbeat rising. Lucian releases my wrist. But he doesn't step away. Looks like your negotiation just got complicated, he murmurs. I exhale slowly. Yeah, complicated is one way to put it. Because this time, I'm not facing one unstable sentinel. I'm about to face an entire pack. The footsteps don't slow. They multiply. Stone scrapes. Metal clicks. Controlled breathing, disciplined, trained. Not like Lucian's earlier instability. This is different. This is a squad. I don't move. Running now. Pointless. They've already locked onto this location. Lucian shifts beside me. Subtle, but I catch it. His stance changes. Protective. Territorial. Quiet realization. That didn't take long. Stay behind me, he says low. I glance at him. Absolutely not. His jaw tightens. This isn't a request. And I'm not yours. That lands. Hard. His gaze flicks toward me, sharp, dangerous. But before he can respond, a voice cuts through the cavern. Bright. Warm. Almost cheerful. Lucian. Footsteps stop. Oh, good. You're alive. A man steps into view. Tall. Lean. Military posture, but relaxed in a way that screams confidence. Golden brown hair. Clear eyes. And behind him, a massive golden retriever spirit form bursts into view. Tail wagging. Radiating warmth and unfiltered loyalty. Blade, he murmurs. The spirit circles him once, then locks onto me. Stops. Head tilts. And then, it runs toward me. Fast. Too fast. Lucian moves instantly. But I raise a hand. Wait. The spirit reaches me. Sniffs once. And then, leans in. Hard. Like it just found something it's been searching for. Soft exhale. Well, the man says slowly. That's new. His gaze lifts from his spirit animal to me. Sharp now. Focused. Assessing. Soprano, Lucian says, voice cold again. Stay back. Soprano doesn't move. Doesn't blink. Yeah, he says quietly. I don't think I will. The air shifts. Tension thickens. Because now, it's not just curiosity. It's recognition. Not of me, but of what I can do. Another set of footsteps echoes. Heavier, slower, deliberate. And then, he appears. Broad shoulders, dark hair, eyes like sharpened steel. No softness, no warmth, only calculation. Gareth, Lucian mutters. Great. Even I feel it. This one isn't unstable. He's controlled chaos. The worst kind. Gareth's gaze sweeps the cavern, lands on the broken restraints, then on Lucian, then on me, and stops. Explain. Not a question. A demand. Lucian steps slightly forward. Subtle. Claiming position. He's mine. The words hit like a trigger. Soprano laughs softly. Funny, he says, glancing at his spirit still pressed against me. Because Blade disagrees. The golden retriever spirit huffs like it understood, and presses closer. Lucian's expression darkens. Control your spirit. Maybe you should control your tone. Gareth doesn't intervene. Doesn't need to. He's watching me. Not them. Always me. You're the guide, he says finally. Not surprised. Not confused. Certain. I meet his gaze. Depends who's asking. A flicker. Interest. Dangerous interest. You stabilized him. Again, not a question. I don't answer. Don't confirm. Don't deny. Because the moment I do, I become a target. More than I already am. Soprano steps closer. Slowly. Carefully. Like approaching something fragile. Or dangerous. Do it again. Lucian moves instantly. No. Soprano doesn't look at him. I wasn't talking to you. The tension spikes. Gareth finally shifts. Just one step. Enough. Both of you, he says flatly. Stand down. They don't. Of course they don't. Because this isn't about authority anymore. This is instinct. Possession. Need. And it's spiraling fast. Quiet, firm. Stop. My voice cuts through it. Not loud, but precise. All three of them freeze. Not fully, but enough. Good. I step forward. Out from Lucian's shadow. Into the center. Into their line of sight. If you keep pushing like this, I say calmly, your riot values will spike again. Soprano stiffens slightly. Lucian's gaze sharpens. Gareth's expression doesn't change. But I feel it. That shift. Calculation updating. You want stabilization? I continue. Then act like you want to live. Silence. Heavy. Measured. Then. Gareth exhales. Slow. You're negotiating. Yes. Soprano smiles faintly. Lucian watches me like I've just done something reckless. I probably have. But it worked. Step forward. My terms are simple, I say. I don't go back as a prisoner. Lucian's jaw tightens again. Gareth tilts his head slightly. And in return, I stabilize who I choose. That lands harder. Because it flips the power. Completely. Now they need to convince me. Not the other way around. Soprano lets out a quiet whistle. Bold. Lucian doesn't speak. But I feel it. That pull again. Stronger now. More defined. Not just interest. Not just curiosity. Something sharper. More dangerous. Claim. Gareth studies me for a long moment. Then, and if we refuse, I hold his gaze. Don't flinch. Then you can try to take me. But you won't like what happens next. Silence. Then, unexpectedly, Soprano laughs. Soft. Genuine. I like him. Lucian doesn't. At all. Gareth just watches. And then, very slightly, he nods. Temporary agreement, he says. Relief doesn't come. Because I know what that means. Temporary means fragile. Temporary means one mistake. And I'm done. Quiet shift. But something else has changed too. I feel it clearly now. 3 different presences. 3 different pulls. Lucian, deep, intense, consuming. Soprano, warm, loyal, drawn in fast. Gareth, controlled, but watching like he's already decided something. Slow realization. This isn't over. Not even close. Because I didn't just survive. I made myself valuable. And in this world, value doesn't protect you. It attracts attention, obsession, conflict, soft exhale. And right now, I have all 3. We don't go back to the base. Not that they stop trying. Can secure the perimeter, Gareth says, scanning the tree line like he already owns it. Set up a forward station. This location is unstable. I'm aware, I reply. What I don't say is, so are you. Soprano drops onto a rock nearby, Blade immediately flopping beside him. Except the spirit's attention keeps drifting back to me, like a compass stuck on one direction. Lucian stands closest. Too close. Always just within reach. Watching. Tracking. Waiting. Quiet tension. I said I'm not going back, I remind them. Lucian's voice cuts in low. You didn't say we couldn't stay. I glance at him. You're not subtle. I'm not trying to be. Of course not. This is the problem. They've stopped seeing me as a threat and started seeing me as something else. Something they want. Something they're not willing to let go of. Slow exhale. Do whatever you want, I say finally. Just don't interfere. Gareth's brow lifts slightly. That's not how this works. It is now. Silence. Then, unexpectedly, he doesn't argue. He just watches. Adjusts. Recalculates. Good. That makes one of them. The forest beyond the cavern is harsher than expected. Jagged terrain. Low oxygen pockets. Energy fluctuations that make the air feel wrong. Perfect place for exile. Or survival. Depends how you use it. Step crunch. I crouch near a fractured ridge. There. A faint glow beneath the rock. Energy crystal. Small. But stable. Found something. Soprano's voice comes from behind me. Too close again. I don't turn. Yes. He crouches anyway. Close enough that his shoulder almost brushes mine. Can I? No. He laughs under his breath. Worth a try. Blade settles beside us, tail thumping once, eyes fixed on my hands as I extract the crystal. Careful. Slow. The moment it's free. A pulse of energy runs through my fingers. Warm. Sharp. Alive. Quiet realization. This isn't just fuel. It's compatible. With me. Lucian appears on my other side. Silent. Like he was always there. You're drawing from it, he says. Not surprised. Observing. I nod slightly. Looks like it. Gareth approaches last. Measured. Always measured. Unrefined crystals are volatile, he states. Most guides can't handle direct contact. Good thing I'm not most guides. His gaze lingers. Longer this time. Clearly. The energy settles inside me. Not chaotic. Not overwhelming. It aligns. Like it's been waiting. And something inside me responds. A flicker. A shift. Then. Sharp inhale. I feel it. Not outside. Inside. Something forming. Lucian's hand snaps around my wrist. You feel that? Yes. Soprano leans in. Your mental field just spiked. Gareth's voice cuts through. Step back. Too late. It happens. Pause. Light fractures outward. Not explosive, but controlled. A shape begins to take form. Soft. Fluid. Unfamiliar. Yet instinctively mine. And then, it lands. Lightly. Between us. Small. Round. With bright, curious eyes. A creature made of soft, flowing energy. Like liquid starlight wrapped in form. It blinks once. Then looks up at me. Sugwa. The name comes naturally. Like it was always there. The creature chirps softly. And then, launches itself straight into my chest. I barely catch it. Warm. Weightless. Alive. Soft, stunned. You chose me? Sugwa hums. Content. Like the answer was obvious. Silence falls around us. Heavy. Charged. Then, Soprano exhales. Well, that's new. Lucian doesn't speak. His grip on my wrist tightens slightly. Not painful, but grounding. Gareth steps closer. For the first time. Without hesitation. A manifested spirit form, he says quietly. Without prior bonding. His eyes lift to mine. You're rewriting rules. I'm surviving. Sugwa shifts in my arms, then peeks over. Toward Lucian. Pauses. Then. Leans. Lucian goes still. Completely still. The tiny creature presses lightly against his arm. And. Soft pulse. Lucian's breath catches. His riot value. Drops. Instantly. Not much. But enough. Enough to notice. Enough to matter. It stabilized me, he says. Quiet. Almost disbelieving. I blink. That wasn't intentional. Sugwa chirps again. Like it disagrees. Soprano leans forward, fascinated. Try me. Lucian shoots him a look. Don't. Too late. Sugwa shifts. Hops lightly. And lands on Soprano's shoulder. Blade immediately perks up. Tail wagging like crazy. The moment Sugwa touches him. Soprano inhales sharply. Oh. His voice drops. That's. He doesn't finish. Doesn't need to. Gareth watches everything. Silent. Focused. Calculating. Then. Sugwa turns. Looks at him. Pauses. Doesn't move. Gareth doesn't reach out. Doesn't ask. He just stands there. Waiting. Controlled. As always. After a moment. Sugwa settles back into my arms. Decision made. For now. Quiet shift. The dynamic changes again. Stronger this time. Clearer. Because now, it's not just me. It's what's mine. Lucian steps closer. Too close. His voice low. You're not leaving. Not a question. I meet his gaze. Hold it. Yes, I say calmly. I am. Soprano huffs softly. Good luck with that. Gareth finally speaks. The Federation will come. I nod. I know. And when they do? I look between them. All three. Different. Dangerous. Drawn in. Then we'll see, I say quietly, who they think they're taking. Because this time, I'm not running. Not hiding. Not begging. Slow exhale. I'm choosing. And they are starting to realize they don't control that. The sky shifts first. Not color. Pressure. Beat. The air tightens, like something massive just entered orbit. Gareth looks up immediately. They're here. No alarm. No panic. Just confirmation. Soprano exhales slowly, blade rising beside him, posture alert but steady. Lucian steps closer to me. Of course he does. Sugwa curls tighter against my chest. Soft. Warm. But I feel it too. The ripple in the distance. Multiple signatures. Disciplined. Cold. Federation. Slow inhale. Stay behind me, Lucian says. I don't even look at him. No. His jaw tightens. Not this time. There won't be a next time if he keeps saying that. He goes still, because he knows I'm right. The tree line trembles. And then they appear. 5. No. 10. Elite Sentinels. Fully armed. Perfect formation. At the front, a guide. High-ranking. Eyes sharp. Calculating. She steps forward. Her gaze lands on me. And freezes. Recognition. Then. Disgust. Sulinwan. There it is. The name that isn't mine. The past that still wants to bury me. You've caused enough damage, she continues coldly. Return with us. Immediately. Soprano shifts. Lucian's presence spikes. Gareth doesn't move, but the air around him sharpens. Quiet. I'm not going back. The guide's expression hardens. That wasn't a request. Figures. Her gaze flicks to Lucian. Then Soprano. Then Gareth. Assessment. Recalculation. You've compromised 3 high-value Sentinels, she says flatly. Lucian steps forward. You don't get to define that. Her eyes narrow. You're unstable. And you're not needed. The temperature drops. Fast. Enough, Gareth says. One word. But it lands like authority. The guide's attention shifts to him. You will stand down, she says. All of you. No one moves. No one listens. Because this isn't command anymore. This is control. And control just broke. Slow step. I move forward. Out. Into the open. Sugwa shifts slightly in my arms. Calm. Trusting. The guide watches me carefully now. You think you can walk away? I tilt my head. I already did. Her expression darkens. Do you understand what you are? Yes. Do you? That lands. Harder than expected. Because for the first time, she hesitates. Just a fraction. Enough. Step closer. You see a tool, I continue quietly. Something to stabilize your sentinels. Something to control. Her silence confirms it. Of course. That's all guides like Su Linwan ever were. Weapons. Assets. Disposable. Not me. Not anymore. I decide who I help, I say. My voice doesn't rise. Doesn't need to. I decide where I go. The sentinels behind her shift. Uneasy. Because they feel it. Not just confidence. Authority. Real. Earned. And right now, I finish. I'm choosing not to go with you. Silence crashes down. Then, the guide lifts her hand. Signal. Attack. Lucian moves first. Fast. Too fast. But I grab his wrist. Don't. He freezes. Barely. They'll escalate, he says low. They already have. Soft exhale. My turn. I step forward again. Sugwa slips from my arms. Lands lightly on the ground. And then, it expands. Not larger, but brighter. Stronger. Its presence floods outward. Gentle, but overwhelming. A wave. Not of force, but of alignment. The closest sentinel staggers. Then another. Their breathing shifts. Riot values. Dropping. Stabilizing. Not by force. By resonance. Quiet shock. What is that? Someone mutters. The guide's expression cracks. Impossible. Lucian exhales sharply behind me. Soprano laughs under his breath. Gareth. finally moves. Steps forward. Not to attack. To stand beside me. Then, Soprano joins. Blade at his side. Lucian last. Close. Always close. The line forms. Not against me. With me. The guide lowers her hand slowly. Not surrender. But realization. You've bound them. No. I glance back briefly. At all three of them. Different. Dangerous. Watching me like I'm something they refuse to lose. They chose. Long pause. That's what breaks it. Not power. Not force. Choice. Something the Federation never accounted for. The guide exhales slowly. This isn't over. Didn't think it was. Her gaze lingers. Then, she turns. Signals retreat. The squad follows. Reluctantly. But they go. And just like that, the pressure lifts. The forest breathes again. Long silence. Then, Soprano stretches slightly. Well, he says lightly, that was fun. I glance at him. You and I define fun very differently. He grins. Probably. Lucian steps closer again. Of course. You're staying. Not a question. This time, I don't reject it immediately. I look at him. Really look. At the intensity. The restraint. The way he's holding himself back. For me. Then, at Soprano. Open. Steady. Loyal. And Gareth. Quiet. Watching. Waiting. Not pushing. Slow exhale. I'm not going anywhere I don't choose. Lucian's gaze softens, just slightly. Then choose. There it is. Not control. Not demand. An opening. A real one. Sugwa hums softly beside me. Content. Certain. I step forward. Close the distance. Not running. Not retreating. Choosing. My hand lifts. Rests lightly against Lucian's chest. You, I say quietly. His breath catches. Sharp. Controlled. Barely. But, I glance at the others. Soprano raises a brow. Gareth says nothing. We do this my way. Lucian's eyes lock onto mine. Which is? No control, I say. No cages. No ownership. Soft, firm. Stay because you want to. A long pause. Then, Lucian nods. Once. I already do. Soprano laughs softly. Guess that settles that. Gareth turns slightly. But doesn't leave. Not far, at least. Of course not. This isn't over. Not completely. But it's not a cage anymore. Not a battlefield. Something else. Something chosen. Quiet. Sugwa curls back into my arms. Warm. Steady. Mine. For the first time since waking up. I'm not surviving. I'm not reacting. I'm not running. Slow breath. I'm living. On my terms. And this time, no one's taking that away.